Hey everybody. So now we're going to talk about the golden age of microbiology. So this is between 1875 and 1918. And so a lot of incredible stuff happened during that time. We debunked spontaneous generation. So at this point, people then were able to realize that life comes from life. We started identifying pathogens that were causative agents to specific diseases. We started working on viruses. So viruses, non-living infectious agents that are super tiny, we started to work on them. One of the first ones we worked on was tobacco mosaic virus. Um, because we started realizing that microbes could cause disease, this allowed us to come up with mechanisms to treat disease, mechanisms to prevent disease. So things like vaccines and antibiotics became more common. So there are some really great things that we were able to do. Because of vaccination, we were able to eradicate smallpox. Smallpox was a viral disease that was a huge killer of humans. So this is a disease that only infects humans, and it killed millions of lives. But with the smallpox vaccination, which started with Edward Jenner, we were able to save lives. And so this disease has been eradicated except for, I think there are two cultures of the disease in the CDC in the US and in one other country, but I'm not sure where. Plague also has been, it's not eradicated, but it has been decreased in numbers to where only a few individuals each year get sick, and those that do, very few of them die. At one point, it killed over 25 million individuals. And so, I mean, this is huge. Plague is caused by bacteria, and it is transmitted by rat fleas. So if a disease is transmitted from human to human only, and the virus can only replicate in a human, it's easier to control. And you can see here, this the disease is easier to control, not the virus, I'm sorry. So this is a human to human disease. This one was transmitted by rat fleas, so more people got sick, more people died. This one was easier to eradicate. But with this one, we have antibiotics. Viruses, you don't use antibiotics on. So we've had some great triumphs in the past, but we still have a lot of challenges, specifically because viral diseases are continuously mutating. So bacteria and viral diseases are mutating, and as they mutate, it's harder to treat them. There is still a lot of problems with lesser developed countries not having the ability to get treatments. But even in the US, there are still a lot of individuals that get sick with disease and die every single year. So why do you think that might be? Let me tell you. Well, we used to not have as many humans on Earth. So back in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, people didn't live as long. And so you'd have a family, you'd produce your children, and you might live to 40 or 50 or maybe 60. Not that many people lived to their 90s and hundreds, but today people are living longer. This is causing more people to be in the world, in the US, if we just talk about the US. With more people, that means that we need more homes. Well, if we're going to make more homes, we have to cut down the woods. We have to cut down fields where animals live, and that causes us to become more close to these animals, and that can lead to disease. Evolution is going to be a factor in producing new diseases or causing diseases to become more damaging or more pathogenic. So what I mean here is bacteria, when they mutate to be resistant to antibiotics, that is a form of evolution for the bacterial species. And antibiotic resistance is becoming very common. When bacteria or viruses evolve, our immune system can't recognize them as effectively and so aren't going to attack. So these are problems that we're seeing. Global warming. So as temperatures are increasing in the world, different bacteria are going to become more prevalent. So think about those vector transmitted diseases. Vectors typically are your insects. Some are ticks. I mean, so there are others, but the majority of our vectors are insects, and insects typically are common in the spring, summer, or I should say summer and fall months. Spring is a little bit low on insects. Fall, they start to die out. But if we have a warmer environment for a longer period, these vectors are going to be out there longer, and so these diseases are going to be easier to spread. So these are all problems that we're seeing. We're seeing newly emerging diseases, so I'm not going to say they are brand new diseases, but they're re-emerging diseases, or they're diseases that maybe are brand new to us. And so this is just showing some different diseases that are starting to get more or become more common in different environments of the world. So not just the US, but you can see some areas of the US as well. So re-emerging diseases are diseases that have been eliminated or have been, well, in general, eliminated, and now they're coming back. Well, why would this happen if you've eliminated it? The most common reason that this is happening is because people are now not vaccinating their family, their children. And so I'm not talking about getting a flu vaccine once a year. I'm talking about getting the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, the DTaP vaccine, the normal vaccines you get when you are a few months old, a few years old. You have to get them, you know, like 3 or 4 sets of these shots. Everybody gets these shots, and these shots protect us from some of the diseases that used to cause a lot of deaths, like measles, mumps, diphtheria, pertussis. And because people haven't seen these diseases, a lot of people are now looking at, oh, there's, you know, bad things in vaccines. And that's mainly due to one individual who lied, wrote a paper, lied. His scientific research was shown as falsified, and people just decided to believe him anyways. So, I mean, I'm just saying, you have to do your research. You have to be a little bit smarter than what some YouTube video or some Facebook post says. You have to do your own research. And if you do, then you'll learn that vaccines are very good. They are more beneficial than they are harmful. They don't cause autism. They don't cause very many problems at all. And they do save lives. The biggest problem with vaccines is that you're going to live longer. That's really the worst problem, is you will live longer. That's the side effect of a vaccine, and that's a good side effect. It's not a problem. Sorry, I jump on a high horse whenever I talk about vaccinations. Um, Pathogens are becoming more resistant. I've talked about that already, antimicrobial resistance. Because we have increased in numbers, we've increased in global interaction. People are traveling, so things that are more common in one country are now being spread to other countries. So there's a lot of reasons for these re-emerging or for newly emerging diseases. I'm going to stop here because this is the perfect place to stop. It's been a 10-minute video, and we'll get into the different organisms in the microbial world in your next video. All right, bye.